Hey, so this is going to be my first broadcast where I'm running through of Cayo Perico as well as the heist. We got it on hard mode and we're going for the elite mode, or the elite challenge rather. While we're here, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, like this video, and subscribe so I can build this channel. It's an old channel, but I had never really used it before, so I'm kind of trying to get it going and figure out how everything works. So yeah, give me a thumbs up and that would be fantastic, and let's get into it. I know Cayo Perico has been out for a little while, so it's kind of been done, but it's new to me on this channel, so we're just gonna do it. So let's gather intel and see what we got going on. I used to think driving or flying in the Sparrow was the best option. I always thought $2,000, man, that's too much to spend on fast travel, but it's $2,000 when you're making at least 1.2 every time you complete this heist. So $2,000 isn't really nothing. So we're gonna fast travel to Polito Cove, I believe it was, and get her going. Definitely, if anybody hasn't done this before, the Sparrow is your best friend. There's only certain situations where the Sparrow is not very helpful, but the Sparrow is definitely your best friend. I highly recommend it for most of your travels. MK2 and the Sparrow are going to be your top two contenders for travel during missions, and not just with Cayo Perico, but MC businesses and all of that is definitely the best way to travel around the Los Santos. This first mission here, trying to get the drug plane to do your mission or do your scouting. If you don't get too close, typically the plane will not explode unless it rolls into the water like it's going to do for me now, and I'm going to have to redo this mission. So yeah, let's try that again, shall we? Honestly, first time that's happened to me, rolling into the ocean like that. So hey, stuff happens, roll with it and try again. But anyway, as I was saying, if you don't get too close to the plane where the icon changes on the map, typically you can't actually destroy the plane, but you can still take out all of the enemy NPCs that are surrounding the plane. That way you don't have to have a gunfight or anything like that. Helps speed up the process a little bit, assuming, again, the plane doesn't roll into the ocean. Hopefully the next location for this mission won't be too far away where I can just use a Sparrow. I don't have to fast travel again, but it's only $2,000. Again, not a huge deal if that's the case. Grape seed. So yeah, it's on the other side of the mountain, so we're gonna fast travel just to get a little bit closer. Excuse my phone. So this one, the plane's a little bit further from the water, so if for whatever reason it does start rolling, it shouldn't go towards the water. Or at least it should stop rolling before it hits the water. That's a very good. Recently I've been getting the tequila and the ruby necklace over and over and over, and it's much. Ooh. Okay, so this one's not even near the water. That's a whole new spawn location for me. So as you saw, now I had a direct hit on the plane and I did not fail. We're still to go. As long as you don't, like I said, as long as the plane icon does not appear on the map, you should not actually damage the plane at all. So you can launch some rockets in there and don't have to worry about failing the mission. I don't know, I think it's just my opinion, but I always felt like the music for the missions was more entertaining than the actual radio stations. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. I always find myself turning off the radio just so I can hear the mission music instead. And if you like the radio stations better, which station do you like? If you got a specific song. You would think the wind would blow the door shut. Physics. It's great. This is probably one of the longest parts of the whole heist. Just flying the plane to your checkpoint. I've heard people say they've had issues with this checkpoint here, that they'll fly out to the water and the icon on the map will disappear, but you won't get taken to Cayo Perico. You just fly to the end of the map and the plane dies and you crash and you gotta start all over again. I haven't experienced that issue myself, but I want to say that if you are flying too high, that might happen. Maybe Rockstar's fixed that. But I always try to stay fairly close to the water, not right on top of it, but you know, I'm certainly not at the top of the map or anything like that. You would think after so many times this guy would recognize me. You know, he shows up 7 or 8 times, and every time he shows up, the place gets robbed for all of its high value items. You'd think he'd become a little suspicious. I definitely would be. Now for me, I have a specific route that I follow. Cash is the lowest value loot that you can find, so I don't even take pictures of the cash. I just kind of assume that it's going to be there just in case I need to snag it to get a full loot bag for the Elite Challenge. I have a specific route that I take. Man, cash everywhere. I have a specific route that I take. I'm not going to say that I came up with this route because, you know, I'm not going to start this off by lying. I figured all this out on my own. I didn't have any help, because that's a load of BS. Everybody starts off watching videos of somebody else, and you know, I'll admit I started off watching Tylarious. He's got a lot of good videos, a lot of good content, and doesn't have an annoying voice when he's doing his commentary. So it's worth it to watch his videos to get the information that he puts out. So I make sure to tag him in my videos. So we got all cash here and 1 stash of cocaine. Hopefully the North Dock has better options. But for me, I don't go to the main dock. I don't scope out the main dock. I haven't it's just not part of my comfort to run the main dock. I'm not super with it. But I'll check out the airport first, airstrip, and see what's there. This time there's a whole lot of nothing. So we'll see what Doc has hidden for us. Whenever I come to the North Dock, I always try to park the motorcycle right by this leg of the water tower, because it's kind of hard to find the bike if you just leave it in a random spot. So I leave it somewhere where I can easily find it. So it looks like we got cash and cocaine again. Oops, wrong button. Let's try that again. There we go. Alright, let's run over to the long warehouse here. So we got double weed. Not my first choice, but it's a good backup plan if the see if the other shed over here has anything better that we can streamline our run. Ooh, no, don't see me, don't see me. No, he didn't see me. Man, this is gonna be a fun one. So we got weed and looks like cash. Yep, cash. This guy, I don't know what his deal is. He's clearly staring at me, but he just does not. Oh, that's right. He's on my payroll. We're all good. Turn around. Let's go. Thank you. So, whole lot of weed this time. I think that's going to be the majority of our haul this run around. Hopefully we've got the pink diamond to help offset that low loot income. It's still going to be probably about 400,000. It's not too bad. You get a full loot, a full stash of everything, and it's not too bad. It's always right around $400,000, give or take a 50 or so. I think the most I've ever brought in with all cocaine, I think the most was 447,000. Oh, come on. Can't win them all. At least it didn't land in the water. There's a silver lining. Okie dokie. I hate the bushes in this place. You don't know what's gonna throw you and what you can drive through. It's frustrating sometimes. I experimented one time. This guard in the tower, if you try to run through it, he will still catch you, even if you're hauling butt on the motorcycle. Just take your time, wait it out. No real rush. And I'm gonna have to do it a second time. Or maybe not. Yeah. It's not a perfect. It worked out okay. I was kind of hoping my first full live stream would this. Roll with it and keep on trucking. Are you sure about that? Ayuda. I always try to aim for this road here, but every once in a while you got one of the guards walking by it, so it's not an option, but so with this one, if there's a guard standing outside the fence in front of this guard shack here, then the signal box is going to be up on the tower somewhere. If there's no guard, then the signal box is always going to be on the ground. And this has taken me a while to figure out how it works, but the circle with the line through it, that means it's just multiplied by 1. The 2 lines with the single line through it, it's multiplied by 2, I believe. So we need to get 13. So we're just going to multiply that by 2, and then these are both going to be multiplied by 1. If you get a circle with an X in it, then that means it's multiplied by 10. So since I'm running solo, I'm not going to bother with all the loot in the different stories and compounds, so we're just going to go straight to the base feed, see what we're stealing. Go back to Los Santos. Alright, ruby necklace yet again. So we'll just exit out of that, hop back on the motorcycle, and find the nearest guard to get caught by Los Santos, or to go back to the airport. Tylarious typically will go to the top of the signal tower and skydive off to go to the main dock to scope out the loot that's at the main dock. But as I mentioned earlier, the main dock is not in my comfort zone, so I don't mess with it. I just get caught by a guard and go back to the airstrip, so that way I can make my way back to Los Santos to start the preps. It's really annoying when you spawn at the airport here because usually your closest vehicle is a long way away. You can't get a car, you can't get the MK2, you can't get your Sparrow without having to go a long distance. But I found these horizontal lines on the ground here. If you just go across 3 of them, 1, 2, and then right here, number 3, you can call in the sparrow, and it will spawn just outside the gate right here. Yeah, there it is. So I'll do that, and then I'll actually, while I'm going to the sparrow, I'll return the Kosatka to storage, because remember, it's still at the north end of the map from where we stole the drug plane. And if my guy stops being stupid, get in it. There we go. I'll pull up the menu and request a Kosatka, so that way it spawns close to LSIA here. Come on. Wow. No. Come on. Right there we go. Head to the sub to start our first mission. The first mission, so you have the demolition charges. We're going to be getting the plasma cutter, or excuse me, the plasma torch. The torch cutter? No? Can't even think straight right now. Anyway, long story short, we're skipping the detonation charges because we don't need them. The cutting torch, that's what I was trying to think of, will do all of that work for us. Less noisy, so you don't get caught by the guards, and less shooting, so it just makes the process go a lot easier. But the first mission we're going to do is to get the plasma cutter. That's why my brain was going crazy. Oh, excuse me. First mission is the longfin. So if you have a Phantom Wedge, this will definitely help you out, save you a little bit of time, because you don't have to go and locate a semi-truck that Pavlov signals for you. So I get the menu ready, and then as soon as I land and it gives me the option to request the Phantom Wedge, I'll request it, and then I'll just back out of one screen so I can return the Sparrow back to the Kosatka. It'll help you out a little bit after the end of this mission. Alright, so there's the Phantom Wedge. Go to Services, Kosatka, Return Options, Return Whirlpool and Vehicle. And then while I'm waiting for the Phantom Wedge to show up, I'll go ahead and put in a marker, because it doesn't tell you where to go while you're being chased by the police. So it's easier just to go straight to the destination point, the end of the mission, than it is to lose the police first, because you can hide out at the docks there while you're waiting for you to lose your wanted level. So just back on in here and then follow your marker to the drop-off location at the docks. The reason the Phantom Wedge is so nice is, of course, you know, it's a Phantom Wedge. You don't have to worry about avoiding cars or anything like that. Now, I will actually say, when you get the police vans that lay out the spike strips, you want to make sure you aim for the police vans so you don't lose your tires, because that just makes things annoying. Myself trying to hit as many cars as I can. When you get the police cars that are lined up like that, just as a roadblock, there's no spike strips, so you don't have to worry about it. You can avoid it or run straight through it, whatever you want to do. It's the single police van, that's the one you really got to watch out for. The Phantom Wedge is pretty robust. So even if you do lose a turning wheel, or the last time I did this mission, I lost actually all of my wheels, except for 2 drive wheels. So it was not too bad. I still was able to turn fairly well. Had to slow down before I went around corners, but not a huge deal. So just pull into right here, and I try to stop right on top of that little white circle and get out. I don't have any cops behind me right now, so I really don't need to do this, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, just for the sake of giving you all the details to help you finish this one pretty easily. So I found a video telling you to come behind this stack of wood here, and then if you just climb up against or hide up behind the rock or the wood here, lean against the wood, not against the beam. If you lean against the wood, 9 times out of 10, I've had officers run right up on me on the other side of that beam, and they turn around and run away, and they don't even bother me, and I lose the mission. So, or lose the wanted level. But you saw there, I lost my wanted level. I just hopped back in, and the finish point is right there. I was busy talking. Normally while I'm hiding behind the wood, I will pull out my interaction menu and call in my sparrow while I'm waiting. That way it's already there and ready to go. But that's also why you return it to storage while you're waiting for the phantom wedge to spawn. So that way you don't have to return it to storage and then wait the cooldown period for the sparrow to be able to call it back. Now back to the Kosatka and on to the next mission. Let's move on. Alright, so now first equipment, plasma cutter. Again, like I said, we're skipping the demolition charges because we're going to be getting the cutting torch. so we don't need the demolition charges. One thing to note, if you're not seeing the option for the cutting torch, that's because you haven't successfully scoped out the drainage tunnel just outside the compound. Once you scope out the drainage tunnel just outside the compound, then the option to acquire the cutting torch will become available to you. So for this one, the plasma cutter, I used to only run this with the Sparrow, but I found that I was having some trouble. I would get to where the plasma cutter was located. I'd kill all the enemy NPCs, and then I'd have to land the Sparrow, get out to pick up the plasma cutter. Well, by the time I got back to the Sparrow and got the rotors spun up so I could take off, additional enemy NPCs had spawned and usually would kill me before I'd have the ability to get out of there. So what I'll do is I'll go to the safe house so you can locate where they're doing their robbery at. And once I get to the safe house, that's when I'll call in my MK2 and I'll send the Sparrow back to storage. A little bit too far there. Too far from a suitable road. Such a bunch of BS. Anyway, alright, now that we got that call pulled up, send the Sparrow back and go inside. Of course, there's nobody here because they started their heist earlier than anticipated, so we just get to go in and take a picture of the planning board. I had trouble with the planning board taking the picture. If you get too close to it, it won't recognize, so I just stand all the way back and take a picture of it. And you don't even really have to zoom in, just so long as the board is in the center of the picture. That should be more than enough to send to Pavel. And you can head on out and get ready to bust some heads. So this location is right by the pier with the Ferris wheel and the roller coaster, and I think it's one of the more difficult locations because all the NPCs are inside a little like hallway type thing, and it's not really easy to access as far as getting some missiles in there to kill them all. But just be patient, keep lobbing them in, and eventually you'll get everybody. Typically what I end up doing is I'll throw a couple in there, and then when the backup NPCs show up, then I'll fly away and get a better vantage point. And so they're here now, so I'll fly away, turn around, take them out. And now I should have the ability to just sneak in there. I actually don't think that last guy is a part of the thieves mission. I think he's just a innocent bystander that for some reason you end up locking onto, because he's always sitting against the wall there. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, as you saw, kill the first two cars that come in. That'll allow you to sneak in, and you don't have to get off the MK2. Just sneak in and just sit right on top of the plasma cutter, and it'll let you pick it up. And just make sure you line up straight shot out of that little doorway and just pull up, take off. You have the other NPCs there showing up to try to take you out, but as long as you just hit that boost, then you can get out of there pretty easy. I always make sure I return my MK2 to storage before I go inside the Kosatka, because if you don't, sometimes it will destroy your MK2 because it'll fall in the water, and that's a $10,000 bill you'll have. And so it's just easier. Alright, next on the line is Fingerprint Cloner. This is one of the easiest missions you have. You can do this with the Sparrow. You have 4 guys you gotta kill, and that's the entire mission. Kill 4 guys, go to another location, destroy the cameras, and you're done. Pretty quick and easy. If you get caught by the cameras, then you have NPCs chasing after you pick up the fingerprint scanner, but typically that doesn't happen very often, so no big deal. In case of emergency, so that would mean in case he got his fingers blown off or hand cut off or something like that. Is that something we get to do later on? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see that happen. Maybe when they release the next update, they'll have a cutscene showing Mr. Rubio losing said hands. Who knows? So this is the warehouse, one of a few that you might have to go to. On this one, there is a fuse box on the outside that you can use to disable the 2 cameras outside. If you shoot the 2 cameras on the outside, it will set off the alarm and they'll know you're coming. If you don't, you can disable the security cameras with this fuse box here, or typically I just go in guns blazing and it's not really a big deal. There's a crate right inside the door that you can hide behind. That way they won't shoot you. But yeah, just get ready, because if they see that you're coming in by the cameras, then they'll be shooting at you as soon as you load in. If you get in without being spotted, then you can hide behind this crate and they won't know what's going on. But you really don't have a whole lot of time to hide behind the crate. As you can see, even though they didn't know I was there, they turned around and started shooting at me almost immediately. But yeah, just use the crate and you won't have any trouble getting in there. But like I said, those are the only 4 guys you should have to kill. So it's really not that difficult. Once you get to the archive, if you take out the cameras, if you shoot the cameras, then you won't have to worry about any additional NPCs. If you don't shoot the cameras and they spot you, you can get in, get the finger cloner, and you won't have to fingerprint cloner. You won't have to deal with any NPCs until you exit. Once you exit, that's when you'll have NPCs and vehicles rolling up on you. Still, you should be able to get out of there without having to fight them, but just keep that in mind. If you're a little slow getting out the door and getting back into your Sparrow, you'll have to deal with that. But I just land, pull out my assault shotgun, and I just load them up until you see it fall. Oh. Where's the other one? Oh, it's hiding behind the ladder there. Take the 2 cameras out, run inside. There's not going to be anybody inside. You don't have to worry about that. And the fingerprint cloner will always be in the furthest clump of desks. So I just run all the way to the back and I just do a loop. I don't ever know exactly where it's going to spawn at, but I just run up against that desk there, and then if it's not on that one, then it'll be on this desk here. Just keep on running, and and you'll just snag it as you walk by. But because we took out the cameras, we're not going to have any additional NPCs, so we'll have a scot-free run all the way back to the Kosatka. One thing I wish about the Sparrow is that it had a little bit more armor, a little more strength to it. It does not take much to take it down. You accidentally run into something and it's going to start smoking pretty quick. I kind of get it because it's designed to go with the Kosatka. The Kosatka is a boat submarine, so weight reduction is high priority. So that's why it is all just a skeleton frame. So that's why it would make sense not to have a whole lot of strength, but it craps out way too easy in my opinion. Ah, I missed it. Let's try that again. There we go. But like I said, Fingerprint Cloner is going to be one of the easiest missions you'll have throughout this entire process, so should go fairly quickly. Other people have said that you can do the entire heist prep and the heist in under an hour. I must be lacking in speed pretty good, because that's definitely not something that I can pull off. I average about an hour 10 to hour 20 to do everything. But hour 20 is too bad for, you know, $1.2 to $1.6 million payout. If you get the pink diamond and full cocaine for your loot, then you'll have close to 2 million. But I haven't had the pink diamond in quite a while, so obviously that one is the rare item. So for this mission, we're going to be on top of the skyscraper that is being built. So I just use the Sparrow, get to roughly the same altitude as the top of the skyscraper. You don't want to go too high, otherwise you can't get underneath that little section where some of the armed guards are going to be hiding. This first rocket, you can see it didn't make it underneath, but the second one did. But I just keep throwing in rockets until I stop locking onto something. And there's one more guy hiding back over this way. There he is. Oop, completely missed there. Got him. Alright. It's a little tight to land the Sparrow inside here, but definitely doable. Just keep in mind that the tail rotor doesn't need to have clear space to land, so you can land it with the tail rotor over top of this rebar here and it's not going to be a problem. But now everybody's dead. If you got a straggler or two, you know, it's not a big deal. A couple shots and they're done. But just run in and check the toolboxes. There's 3 out here that it could be inside. If I can find the third one. There's the third one over there, right next to where I landed. There's 3 out here. If it's not in here, then there's, I believe, 2 more underneath this smaller section. Don't mind me, just running through. One of them's going to be over here, which has our cutting torch. Run back to the Sparrow and go back to Kasaka. There we go. Pretty easy. Just, you know, the Sparrow has unlimited missiles, so use that to your advantage. It's just getting the right altitude and not crashing into the building that is the trick. And we're done with that one. Next we'll have the weapons, and I always get the shotgun. It's pretty quick and easy. You want to make sure that you always get the suppressors. Don't forget to get the suppressors, you will have a hard time. But go for the aggressor loadout. That's going to be a good option if you're trying to go silent. If you don't want any return fire, it's easy to line up real quick, get a headshot, and you don't have to worry about anybody catching you and chasing you down. So this one, Merryweather HQ. So you have to fly to Merryweather as soon as the helicopter gets triggered and it starts to take off. You don't have to follow it. If you know the locations where the Avenger could spawn, then you don't have to follow it. Just go to those locations and it'll give you the ability to take everybody out before the Merryweather helicopter reaches that location. And I'll show you the route that I take, because if I follow the helicopter a little bit, I know which direction it's going to land at, but it's just faster just to let it go. So now we've triggered the Valkyrie. So now I'm going to fly off to the power station, because that is the closest location, I believe, to that it could go to. So I'll head there first, check it out, and see if the Avenger is there. And that's another one of those that if you don't get too close to it, you can just launch rockets at the NPCs and you won't end up destroying the Avenger. So it saves you some time, and you can kind of do a lot of the heavy lifting and without having to worry about accidentally destroying the Avenger. But I'll show you that once we find it. So we're getting close. It looks like... Yes, so it is here. So like I said, you can get close to it and just start launching rockets at it. You don't have to worry about destroying the Avenger. The Avenger will not actually be able to take damage until the Valkyrie reaches it. So once the Valkyrie lands at the parking lot, that's when the Avenger will be able to take damage and you can destroy it. So like I said, launch as many rockets as you want, missiles, clear out all of the NPCs. I got one straggler there, it looks like. Once you get all the NPCs cleared out, then I go back and I follow the Valkyrie the rest of the way. That way, because the Valkyrie's got explosive rounds on it. If it hits you, it takes you out pretty quick. So I go back and I just follow the Valkyrie the rest of the way. And then as soon as the Valkyrie turns, the map icon goes from a helicopter to a red target, then just launch a rocket to blow it up, and you're clear to get inside of the Avenger. Can't tell you how many times I've had the Sparrow lock on to the Valkyrie, and just on instinct I launched a missile and destroyed it before it landed, and I had to start the mission all over. Tons of frustration, but just wait till the icon changes and one rocket and you're finished with that. So then you can land and go inside the Avenger. So we're almost there. He's landing now. Just keep a lock on it. Alright, now we've got, if I can do it. So the targets, or the helicopter icon changed to targets. So just throw a missile at it, blow it up. Try not to kill yourself in the process with these light posts. I try to land on this far corner because the Merryweather NPCs, they'll come in from the opposite corner from the road back there. So it just gives you a little bit more time to get the rotor spun up to be able to take off. Get your gun ready and hit the D-pad or whatever you're playing on to enter. And you got two NPCs inside here. They can't hit you right away, but just be ready for them. You got the guy in the back there, and then you got the guy at the workstation here. Take them both out. Grab the weapons. Head back the way you came in. You want to grab a parachute. You got to grab a parachute because for whatever reason the one that you have on you all the time is not usable. Walk back to the exit door and just spam the action button, and as soon as you're able to exit, it'll let you exit. Head back to the Sparrow on the ground here. Make sure you don't pull your chute too late. I've done that quite a few times. And see the NPCs are coming at me already. As soon as you can, try to get the back end facing those NPCs. That way it'll protect you. There we go, and you're off. Not too bad. If you're ready for it, it's really not too hard. This is why the Sparrow is so helpful, because it's tied to the Kosatka, so you can take off from the Kosatka and you can land back inside the Kosatka. You don't have to get your MK2 and tediously land on top of the Kosatka and enter in the door, or you don't have to call a dinghy and jump out of the dinghy and swim to the Kosatka. The Sparrow definitely makes doing these missions so much easier to get things done quickly. Not to mention having the unlimited missiles just makes everything so much easier. Now for me, I don't typically do any of called it's the I don't do any of the disruptions, but the heist, the only one that I really would recommend is the armor disruption. Just because when you're going through Cayo Perico and you're trying to stealthily take out the guards, if you hit one, if you shoot one and you knock them down but you don't kill them, the armor makes it a little more difficult to take them out while they're on the ground, because it's hard to get a headshot when they're laying down on the ground and you can't see their head. So having that armor there, if they're still wearing their armor, then it takes 3 or 4 or 5 shots to actually kill them, and you have a high potential of being spotted by the guards at that point. So if you're new to the heist and you're not fully familiar with what you're doing, I would recommend at least doing the armor disruption. Just so that way, if you hit a guard and you don't kill them right away, when they're on the ground, it takes only 1, maybe 2 more rounds to actually kill them, and you don't have to worry about getting discovered by the guards. Anyway, well, since I recommended it, I'll go ahead and do it and show you the gist of what that process looks like. This one is a little bit more difficult for the fact that the Sparrow does not lock on to the enemy NPCs that you have to kill. So you do have to get out of the Sparrow and do everything manually. Go old school. So. For these missions, you do have a time limit. It's only 10 minutes. All of your other missions, you don't have a time limit. Well, technically you do, but it's an extremely long amount of time. It doesn't actually give you a countdown timer until the time is about to run out, until you have about 5 minutes left. But on the disruption missions, you do only have 10 minutes, so you want to make sure that you are ready to go as soon as you start it. Don't waste any time. Now this disruption, or this location, is, in my opinion, one of the more annoying ones, because if you lose your Sparrow for whatever reason, it's a long way to get back to a road. If you call your MK2 from this area down here, your MK2 is going to spawn on the road that's to my right, up top, and you have to run all the way around to get to it. Same thing with the Sparrow. If you call your Sparrow, it will spawn up top there on the right side, and it's just a long road to get back to it. So it's just gonna be a hard time to get this finished on time within the 10 minutes. But use the auto aim to your benefit. Try not to die like I'm about to do here. I'll go throw on some armor real quick. Guess I'm gonna have to buy some armor before we do this. Alright, full health, full armor. Let's go. Oops, too far. Not far enough. We still got it. And we got one back over here, bounced off the boxes. And one more back there. I find it's easier to take those out with some sort of explosive, a grenade launcher, a rocket. Just be careful, the explosive radius, you can take yourself out pretty easy. I've done it many times. It happens. Just respawn and get back after it. Take your gun out, let's go. There's only, I believe, 4 guys in here. Not too difficult to take them out. And then just again start lobbing grenades. just be careful where you're aiming, because you might hit something close to you when you're not meaning to. I guess there's 5 guys in here. When you're trying to shoot through the shelves like this, you could hit a shelf and accidentally get real close to, or bounce back at you and kill yourself. So just something to watch out for. Oop. Also, if you hit an NPC directly, it will explode immediately, so watch out for that. So all the armor shipments are destroyed. Now you have to go back out. There is a tugboat that's going to spawn at the docks close to Merryweather. This one is actually going to be right next to the Merryweather headquarters at the docks. So keep that in mind, that you got to get on your MK2 or back in your Sparrow and get over there real quickly. Also, the Sparrow will not lock onto this tugboat, so you got to either land and get out, or just aim with the Sparrow reticle, basically just non-homing missiles, and you can still hit it. It might just take a couple shots. For me, I still have a little over 5 minutes, so I've got plenty of time to line up my sights and throw a missile at the tugboat to take it out. But if you're running low on time, if you got a minute, maybe 2 minutes, might be easier to land it and just use a rocket launcher. That way you can aim a little bit better. Because if you're not super skilled with the Sparrow, it'll be easier to get off and aim directly. Oh, I missed. See, it's a little bit... Oh, I still got it somehow. Alright, and that's the end of that. So now, not a single guard on Cayo Perico Island is going to have body armor. So that'll save you a little bit of stress if you don't get a perfect headshot when you're running through Cayo Perico. So now we can head back to the Kosaka and start our run through the island. If you want to, you can do the other 2 disruption missions. They're really only helpful if you get spotted by the guards. There's one for El Rubio's attack helicopters. There are, I believe, 10 helicopters around Los Santos that you have to fly and destroy. Again, the Sparrow will not lock onto it, the MK2 will not lock onto it, but there are NPCs that are usually surrounding those buzzards that you have to destroy, that the Sparrow will lock onto those NPCs. So usually you can throw a missile at the NPC and it will destroy the buzzards. But if you miss, or the NPCs get killed without destroying the buzzards, then you gotta, kind of tediously aim your rockets, your missiles at the buzzard directly. So it can be a little tough, but again, you only have a 10-minute time frame, so you got to really make sure you do your shots, get your shots lined up. That's the air support disruption, and then the weapons disruption. There are 4 arms dealers that are around Los Santos that you have to kill. Again, you have no lock on, so you gotta just line your reticle up and fire a missile without the homing option. But that one's usually not too hard. The air support one is a little bit more difficult because it's a lot more air travel. But again, the weapons one, it just gives the guards on Cayo Perico less weapons that are not as strong. So it doesn't really seem to make much of a difference in my opinion. But like I said, I don't do any of the disruptions. If you're not comfortable with Cayo Perico yet, then I would suggest doing the armor disruption just to make things a little bit easier. But let's get into it. So purchase super heavy armor. Hopefully you won't need to use it at all, but it's good to have just in case. So approach vehicle, obviously the long fin, because that's the only one that we did. Infiltration point, so at the north dock, we had cocaine and weed. At the airstrip, we had all money and 1 cocaine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the north dock, and I'm just going to do 1 cocaine and get the other 2 weeds to fill up my loot bag. And then we'll head back to the compound. So compound entry point is the drainage tunnel, and then escape point. I just pick the airstrip just because that's the top one on the list. I don't have to make a day. I've always done it daytime. My buddy says nighttime seemed to be easier for him. I don't really notice a difference when I watched his playthrough, so I just stick with daytime just because it's easier for me to see. You can hire NPCs to help you. I don't see any benefit to it. I haven't ever done it and had any good luck from it, so I skipped that part. So this one, since all of the loot that I want is over on this side, I'm not going to go into the channel. I'm going to go around the back side and sneak in that way. So we'll go in by the water tower, just like we did when we were scoping out. Just make sure you don't go too fast and beat yourself. Make sure you put your gun away just in case somebody's looking at you. It's a little intense right here, but just watch your cones of vision and you should be all right. Right now I'm inside a cone of vision, but that's for the guard that's on the opposite side of the building that I'm trying to get into, so I don't have to worry about getting caught by him, because if there's a building in the way, they can't see you. I do have a security camera right on the outside of this building, but I should be able to sneak in without getting spotted by anybody. We do have the 1 guard outside here. I'm gonna make sure nobody's looking at him, and I'll take him out. And yeah, we got spotted. Yep. So this just got harder. We'll see what we can do. If we can't pull it off, then we'll just try it again and not get caught. But now I've got buzzard attack choppers over top of me, so we're also on hard, so this probably is not going to end well for me, but it happens. I'm going to say I'm probably not even going to get back to my long fin before I get taken out, so I don't have high hopes for this. You can hear that buzzard attack chopper just lighting up the roof of this building. I hear you. Oh, there you are. You're trying to get me. Yep, he's getting me. If I can get inside. So the nice thing is that when you're burning the lock, you can't get hit. Grab our Coke. Since when is sheet metal bulletproof? Just barely got him. Alright, we're gonna run for the long fin. See if we can make it, but we're gonna have attack boats, attack chopper, everything. Odds are against us here. I'm gonna be shocked if I actually get into the compound. Catch me if you can. And there's one of our boats, patrol boats, so I think that's what's going to end up getting me. The buzzard's going to be missing all the way around, but I think the patrol boat's what's going to actually get me. Come on, go under, go under. Yep, there we go. So, if you're not careful with those cones of vision, or in my case, I shot somebody while somebody was watching, that's not usually a good idea either. So we'll try again. So that's how not to do it. No big deal. If you don't succeed, try again. That's how it goes, right? Nice thing is you don't have to redo any missions. Just go back to your Kosatka and you can fire up the heist again. I could have quick restart after I lost the mission, but if you do that, then you don't get to, it disables the elite challenge. So if you're trying to go for the elite challenge, you want to make sure that you actually do go back to Los Santos first and start the mission or the heist over again from the Kosatka to be able to get that elite challenge. Doing all the same stuff as before. Again, remember the airstrip as the escape point doesn't really matter because when we leave here, we're not going to take that route. We're just going to hit the water and take off. Or swim out, I guess. So again, we're going to go around to the back side over here. Maybe we'll hit the water tower first instead of the long warehouse. Oh man. This is not working out for me. That's what I think about you. I guess for the sake of this video already being over an hour long, we'll go to the airstrip and just get a bunch of cash. Less of a return, but it's not as difficult to get there. But we are going to try to end this with an elite challenge complete. These loading screens, man, take forever. I know everybody says it, but normally I don't have this many problems. It must be first live stream jitters, I guess. I don't know. But we'll take a different approach and should be able to get through it relatively quickly. Alright, so this time our infiltration point, we're going to go to the main dock. We're not actually going to the main dock, we're just using that because it's a good location. It's right in the middle between the airstrip and the compound. So it's a good place to start to be able to loot from the airstrip. So, third time's the charm, let's get after it. Pull a hard lefty, pop over that. Pull up inside this little inlet here, right up beside the wall. This guard he'll walk up to, and as soon as he reaches the end of his path, he'll immediately turn around so you can pop out and finish him off. Let it lock on, aim up just a little bit to get that headshot. Hop over the wall here. And this one, you got the camera and you've got the guy inside there, up on the second floor of that building that you got to watch out for. Once you take out the camera, you don't have to worry about that guy so much, but you want to make sure that the guy's not watching when you take out that camera, because as you saw before, if somebody's watching when you shoot something else, it causes problems. Alright, so both of them are turned away. We'll take out the camera real quick. One shot and you're done. Just sneak on in. Alright, already we're doing a lot better. We're getting into the first cage without being spotted. Grab this cache. And if this guy's watching you when you're leaving this shack here, you don't have to worry about it too much. Just take the route I take, and he shouldn't see you. You gotta make sure you don't run because your footsteps could be heard. But if you just hug the wall when you're walking out, he's not looking at me, but I'll show you anyway. If you just hug that wall, he actually can't see you. And then you want to go on the wall side of the tree, and if you jump, it'll let you jump through there. If you go on the building side of the tree, it's not enough space and you can't get through. So make sure you go between the tree and the wall before you jump, and that'll let you get out. So from here, you just take off running. And just stay on the outer edge of the road. And then you've got the one guard up here in front of the hangar. Just give him a quick headshot. Like I said, let the game lock on for you, and then just aim up just a little bit to get that headshot. And everything I had in here was cash, even upstairs, so I'm not going to worry about trying to go upstairs. Just grab the last bit of cash that we can hold here, and then we're back to the long fin to go to the compound. Alright, 401,000. Like I said, no matter what you get, if you get a full loot bag, you're going to get at least 400,000 typically. So you don't have to worry too much about picking and choosing. But if you don't have somebody with you to get gold inside the compound, then cocaine is going to be your best bet to get as much money as possible. But like I said, it's only going to be about 40,000 extra. The only downside about leaving the boat in the water is it can float away from you. You gotta swim back out to get it. Doesn't happen every time, but it can happen. It's a long swim to go get it. They say that there's attack boats in the water, and unless you're spotted, the attack boats are never an issue. You can have one go right past you while you're in the water, and they don't do anything to you at all. You have to be spotted by. Do a quick U-turn and head to the compound. So far, we're doing so much better than the first two tries. I take a pretty specific route when I go in here. You don't get spotted by any guards, and the one guard that you could potentially be spotted by, he actually turns away just before you get to him. Shout out to Tylarious. I used his video to get me started on this, and from there I make a little tweak, but it's nothing, groundbreaking. It's just saves me a little bit of trouble having to deal with additional guards. But just kind of start cutting and flick your joystick or mouse or whatever. I've tried for so long to do just a smooth cut through, and it's really hard to get just a perfect speed where you cut every single bar. I have to go back and redo a bar or two, so it's just easier just to kind of flick it and let it sit on top of the bar for a second. Doesn't have to be perfect, but close, just to get it lined up. Don't forget your rebreathers. You get 20 rebreathers, which is more than enough for anything you would need to do, so don't worry about wasting them. They give you 20 rebreathers every time you start the mission. You don't have to go buy them on Los Santos, on land in Los Santos before you come do the heist. You just automatically get 20 every time. So from here, I just fast walk. I don't full out run. Don't want to make too much noise. But just follow this path. The only thing that would be close to possibly catching you is this security camera here, but it just barely misses you. And then you've got El Rubio's guard. You saw he just turned and looked away from me. That's the only one that you really gotta make sure you don't go too fast. But pretty much every time, like I said, he turns away just before I get to him, so it's usually not a big deal. And then as you can see, the guards, none of them are wearing armor. So you're protected from all of them, or not protected, but it's you don't have to worry about taking too many shots to kill him. This guy, he steps out the corner, stares at the wall for whatever reason, like he can see something, and you just take him out. And luckily for me, he ended up having the gate keys, so that saves me from having to take a detour. But make sure you go to the vault. You get about an extra 100,000 every time. This time I only got 55,000, but it is what it is. And doing the print cloner, it's not too bad. You just find the top of the print and count. So that's 1. So this is box number 2. So 1, 2, and that was the first print. Find the top of the print. So that's 1. There's the top of the print. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just keep following that process through all the prints and it's a lot easier. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm on hard mode, so there are 4 fingerprints. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and then the last one, 8. If you're not on hard mode, you only have to do 3 fingerprints. If you're on hard mode, it does give you an additional fingerprint. There is an alternate entrance downstairs. For me, I don't have to deal with additional guards trying to make my way back downstairs. The alternate entrance, you only have to do, I believe it's 1 fingerprint on regular mode and 2 fingerprints on hard mode. So it could save you a little bit of time if you have trouble with the fingerprints. But for me, I find it easiest just to go to the office and go through the elevator. This pretty straightforward. Just keep it as hot as you can without overheating. Not a big deal. If it overheats, not a huge deal. Just it takes a second for it to cool down for you to be able to start cutting again. And there we go. We've got the main objective. I head back out the elevator. If you entered in through the downstairs entrance, then you can go back out the downstairs entrance. But for me, I just come through here. Oh, if you have the key, the golden gun is going to be in the desk drawer right here below that box. But I've already collected it, so I'm not going to get it again. I'm not going to waste time with doing that. But I run back out the door. And you don't have to run. You know, they say in the army, if you don't want to run to your death. And that can be the same here as well. Just take your time. You should have plenty of time still at this point. You got the 2 guards here. You want to make sure that the one that's actually walking, doing the patrol, walks away before you take out the guy that's just standing still. Unlock the gate. And you can take out this guard if you want to, or you can just let him be. It's entirely up to you. The guard that's on top, you don't have to worry about him. Once you get out the gate, he won't exist anymore. But go out the main gate, and we are almost done. Really, if you follow this route, you know, you should be able to get the Elite Challenge completed just about every time. The biggest factor is going to be where your loot is at on the outside of the compound that you're collecting to begin with. Take this guy out with a headshot, grab his motorcycle, and we're not going to go to the airstrip. Like I said, we're going straight to the ocean. So I go out this way. You got one guard to the left there. Don't go too close to him. Sometimes you'll have another guard on a motorcycle, just like that one there, that'll pop up. So you need to make sure you kind of get across the road fairly quickly before he gets to you. And then I go out to the end of this peninsula here. Make sure you don't hit any bushes. You don't want to crash and lose a little bit of your take. Once you get towards the end, you want to make sure there's a little jump up right there. Don't hit that too fast, otherwise you'll fly into the water. I aim for the rocks. That way when you hit the rocks, you'll just land on top, and then you can kind of easily drop into the water without losing any loot. If you hit the water full force, you will lose some loot, so you'll lose a little bit of money from your take there. You shouldn't lose any health, but you'll lose some loot. But from here, just keep on swimming. You can look at the mini map and you'll see the gradient gets darker and darker. You just want to make sure that you're swimming straight to the darkness and not at an angle. That way you can exit the island as fast as possible. If you swim at an angle, then it's going to take a little bit longer for you to get to the exit. It says Mr. Rubio is coming after me, but he doesn't actually come in my direction at all, and he's actually disappeared now for whatever reason. Not really sure why, but we are just about finished here. I'm not trying to record this right now because I'm doing a live stream, but whatever. And now we're out. If you follow that route, it's pretty harmless. Not a whole lot you have to worry about. Just pay attention to those cones of vision and you can get through pretty easy. This video took a lot longer than my average hour and 20 minutes, but again, I was giving you guys a lot of extra detail as well. Did extra mission and miserably failed the first 2 tries to run through the heist, but it's not too bad. 1.36 is you know, really good for a couple of hours or an hour or so. 13:55, that's under the 15-minute limit, so Elite Challenge was a success. It gives you an extra 50,000 for the Elite Challenge. If you do end up doing it on hard mode, it gives you an extra 10% on the main objective. I'm not sure if it gives you an extra 10% on the loot, but that's a little nice extra bonus for you. It is fun to run through the heist with friends. It's doable, but I personally think it's a little more difficult. Especially if your friends are a little gun-ho and they just run in without paying attention to the cones of vision. If one person gets spotted, everybody gets spotted. So if you can do it alone, it's a higher payout for you and less chance of getting caught. But anyway, that's it, guys. That's the entire heist from the beginning of preps to the ending of the mission. So if you liked the video, I know it was a little bit long and probably rambled through a lot of things, but go ahead and if you could give me a thumbs up, give me a real big thumbs up, and subscribe, and hopefully I can make some more videos for you. Go ahead and give me some comments as well if you have suggestions, things you want to see, things I can improve on. Because, like I said, I'm just getting started here, so I'm figuring it all out as we go. But again, thanks for watching, and video. Peace.